Yeah. Oh, man.
Hi. Hi, you
Hello.
guys.
Hi.
Well, hi, guys. Welcome to the Miles with Moms podcast, a podcast for moms chasing goals through all seasons of life. I'm Olivia.
I'm Shana.
I'm Shana.
Shauna and Shanna. It'll be
Yeah.
a fun one to confuse our audience with that doesn't watch.
Yeah. Well, at least we'll be able to get the voices differentiated, I hope. So,
Yeah.
well, we are bringing you training tips, mom and expert interviews, and the best friend banter that makes you feel like you're on a run with us. Whether it's your first 5K, your next marathon, or a stroller tempo, we've got your miles and your sanity. Since we are building a new platform, we'd appreciate if you can rate, subscribe, and share our podcast with another fellow mama runner.
Ooh.
Do you have an everyday hero shout out?
I do. This is from Natalie. So you can find her on Instagram, Natalie Lauram. It's Lauram. And this is in her voice. So she says, I've been listening to this podcast through my long runs on this training block for my second half marathon. I've always loved cross country and track growing up, but my family had us choose arts or sports. Their workload couldn't handle both. 4 months after having my daughter in February 2023, I decided to get back into the sport. I was so slow. I could only do 1 mile, and it took me 12 minutes. Now I'm shooting for a sub 150 half marathon. It's been such a rewarding journey, and I love having one of my kids ride along with me. And everyone on the trails here cheers like race day when I bring my daughter in the stroller. Thank you for your podcast. I laugh out loud at 6 a.m. in my neighborhood each week. Hoping to tackle the Central Florida Marathon in November 2026. That
Wow.
is, I get so giddy when I hear stories like that because I'm like, you started a mile at 12-minute pace, which is still very impressive. Like, anybody that's been in out of shape, like aerobically, like I remember coming back and being like, why is this mile feel like death? But the fact that she started at a mile, 12-minute pace, now she's going for a sub 2 hour half marathon. That's a huge like barrier that a lot of runners aim for. And now she's training for a marathon next year. Like, I just love that because I hope it like inspires other people to like see themselves in this story and be like, okay, like Natalie's doing it. She's putting herself out there. She's getting uncomfortable. Maybe I can, you know? So those stories always give me like full body chills every time I like read them off because I'm like, oh, this is just the beginning for her. Like next year, she's going to tackle this marathon and she's going to want more. And I cannot
It's
wait
so
to see
true.
what that more is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so crazy how also just 1 mile can turn into so much, and like no matter how long that it takes you and like the pace, it's such a testament to like pace does not matter. Like, and just what 1 mile can do for you and it rolls into another and eventually you're like, maybe I can run a marathon.
Yeah.
It's like it's like such a great testament to like how we are wired. So, yeah.
So true. Well, how's everybody's week been? Shauna, how have you been doing? How's your week been? We saw the news about your Boston qualifier time by 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So how's
Yeah.
everything been going since that point?
Um up and down emotions. I wanted it to be my last Boston qualify and just kind of take or a step back from working so hard and just not that I'm not enjoying. I love training, but just a step back from the harder training. And now I have to do it again. Not have to. I get to, and I want to. I can't end on that note. I have to go back and shoot for another qualifying time because, like you were saying, we're just wired differently.
Yeah.
And so I've already been like scouring the internet for spring marathons.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's exciting.
So it's funny because I've never, in the 14 years I've been running, other than Boston, I've never run a spring marathon.
Oh,
Okay.
I've always run fall marathons. I just love fall. I hate the hot weather. I don't do well in the heat. So fall has always been my big race season. So this will be a first, running a spring marathon that's not Boston.
Oh, wow.
So, but I figured it would give me 2 chances. So if I fall short in the spring, I'll be able to try for another one in the fall. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
I mean,
But
and to clarify for anybody listening, like she qualified for the BQ, but because the buffer was what it was, which is the most frustrating part, I feel like as an athlete, like you're qualified. Could you imagine qualifying for the Olympic trials and then being like, oh, well, you missed the buffer time by
Oh,
4 minutes and 34 seconds or whatever it is, right? Like when you
right,
qualify for something, you should qualify for something. And I really hate that that's still an issue, even though they're making it faster and faster every year. And I'm like, when are they going to resolve this? Like, it's not fair for you, for athletes that are qualifying. They know they got in. You got in by a good amount of time still, and yet you miss it by 4 seconds. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Which
I
yeah,
just,
it
I,
it
yeah,
means
go
that
ahead.
you made the buffer. Like, you made
Mhm.
the buffer, just that it's such a sliver, and, I imagine people probably missed it by a second as well,
yeah,
Yeah.
which it's like it's super twisted, I feel like you work so hard to get that exact time, it should be that exact time, because otherwise it's not the qualifying time. It just isn't. Like, you
right,
can't call it a qualifying time, on Boston's end. As far as the athlete's end, it is a qualifying time. So
Yeah.
I hope that
right,
with the new standards, with them, uh, you know, having to add on extra time for any downhill race of a certain amount of feet, I hope that they can take away the buffers, because if you run, if you're running a 3:30 and that's their qualifying time, you should get in based off of
right.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, that reel that I posted that went
Yeah.
viral. I mean, the comments are still rolling in, and I mean, a lot of people agreed with what the three of us are saying. Like, if you
Mhm,
get a BQ, then that's it. You qualify, and you should be able to run it.
mhm,
But I had definitely a handful of people to tell me to A, stop whining,
Oh,
B, I've already run it 3 times. I should take a step back and let the people that haven't run it run it. And I mean, yes, I feel bad for the people that have never run it and keep qualifying and missing. And um, yeah, I understand that too. But that shouldn't take away the fact that
no.
I have kept working hard every
Yeah.
year to be able to qualify again, to run it again.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, some of the people, and I didn't grow up running, so maybe you
Yeah.
can answer this question, Shanna, about track meets and like making. I don't know how it works, but people were like, "Well, that's not how it works in a cross country meet or a track meet, or if you miss something, you just don't make it to the next." I don't really know what people were saying, but um, yeah, I think if you run the time, you should be able to run the race. But that's a good comparison with the Olympic trials. Like, if
Yeah.
you get your Olympic trial time, you get to run the Olympic trials.
Yes. And
So,
it's like, are people saying that to the people that qualify for the Olympic trials multiple times? Like, are they going out there being like, well, you qualified 7 times, so you just need to stop running it and stop complaining?
right.
Like,
Stop
what?
working hard.
Like, yeah, I'm like, you're gonna get mad at people that don't work hard, and then you're gonna get mad at people that work hard and make it, and then miss it because there's this buffer time on top of the qualifier time. Like, you
Right.
can't, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like,
Right.
I really will say, like, I feel like your message, it was just the way your attitude was with the whole thing. You were like, well, I guess we just get faster and then make it faster so that it's clear cut. Like,
Yes.
make it transparent so that we're not sitting here playing this guessing game. Like, is it going to be 5 minutes next year? Is it going to be 4 minutes next year? We don't
Right.
know. And I thought that that was a really, really positive attitude, because I've never once heard you say, man, it's so fast. Like, I heard you say, just give me a clear
Yep.
guideline or goal to aim for so that I know what to shoot for. And I think that's very fair. Like, you're not asking for much, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Then I had people say, so many people, oh, well, just run faster. Or, when you're going to try to qualify for Boston, you should run at least 5 minutes faster. Don't you think I was trying to run as fast as I could? Like, I didn't go out there and say, okay, I'm 4 minutes faster than my qualifying time. I'm gonna slow down now. No, I as fast as I could that day, and I ran 4 minutes and 34 seconds faster than my qualifying time. Like, obviously, if I wanted to 15-minute buffer, like I was trying to. You know,
Yeah.
like, so
Exactly.
Yeah.
silly. And these are runners commenting and saying these things. Like,
I know. It's like, where did you lose the logic? I don't
right.
know. But and it's so true. Like, had you known the buffer, they come out and be like, hey, you guys, the buffer this year is gonna be 4 minutes, 34 seconds. And you're looking at your clock and you're like, I'm on crunch time.
Yeah,
I swear you would have found those 4 seconds somewhere.
absolutely.
You
4
would have
seconds
found it.
is
That's like a
one
little
step,
weave. Yeah.
It is.
That's
It
what
totally is. A little it's like
literally,
moving a corner just a little bit closer to yeah,
right? Or the
yeah.
energy I took to wave to my husband at the finish line. It's like,
Oh,
what was I doing?
exactly.
Oh my God. And like
Yeah.
knowing that they dropped the standards by 5 minutes. So
I
who would have
know.
thought it would have been that,
Yeah,
still a
exactly.
chunky cutoff, you know?
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, to think too that like if ideally like from last year to this year you qualify by over 9 minutes,
I
right? Like
know. Mhm.
that's a you guys like in a marathon in any
Yeah.
distance is insane. In a
Yeah.
marathon it's insane. Like it is
Yeah.
like so fast. Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crazy progress.
it was no small feat of taking multiple minutes off of the time. And, I think it was responsible of Boston to make the
Yeah.
qualifying standards faster, but
Yep.
I think it was irresponsible to still have a buffer, but still allow. I mean, I think that reevaluating which races are Boston qualifiers is also one of the most fair things to do because, I mean, people who are, the, they'll go out and run a very fair, flat, or hilly
Mhm.
course, and then they didn't get it. They can go fly to the West Coast and run a mountain course, and they can bank time. And it is just to slide in under that buffer, And
Mhm.
so I think just reevaluating, not even taking away all of the races, but adding in, more fair courses in lieu if they were to take some of those other ones out. But that's what they're doing with that penalty. So I'm
Yeah.
curious if next year, if you'll be seeing the same thing.
Yeah. I
Yeah. I wonder.
wonder, I do wonder because 9,000 people missed the cutoff.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I wonder, I mean, obviously all 9,000 didn't run downhill races.
No.
I know I didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
how many
Mhm.
people, on the East Coast or, middle of the country
Don't have
make that
access.
travel
Yeah.
to do? But I don't know, maybe it's 1,500 people or
Yeah.
more. I have no idea, but I
Mhm.
wish because they changed the standards in the middle of the qualifying window.
Yeah.
So, like, some people, like, I thought I had 9.5 minutes and then, you know, ended up only having 4,
Yeah.
34 seconds. But I wish they had changed the downhill penalties at the same time
I agree.
because
Yes.
my 4 seconds, then I probably would have made it.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I totally agree. Well, because I don't think that they would have needed so much of a buffer because, of course, it's not
Mhm.
all
Yeah,
9,000 people. It's
right.
just, yeah, I think there just could be more evaluation because Boston is like the one very merit-based course, and so it
Mhm.
has to be fair across the board for everyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think just talking about it with for you, like it was missed by 4 seconds. And so many people dream of going to Boston and that have maybe not ever experienced it and also
Mhm.
missed it by such a small time, and that, I think that there are, the more that people are talking about it, the more that there will be a push to make it better and more fair. And
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how many times somebody has run Boston. If they pay for it, qualify for it, they
Right,
get to run Boston. That is fair. That is nationwide. That is, international. That is
Mhm.
completely fair. So to say that, for
Right.
anybody to say that since you've run it, to take a step back is
Yeah.
crazy. Because
I
yeah,
know.
that's not nobody's business.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I agree.
So frustrating.
Well,
Yeah.
Shauna, I'm going to read your bio so we can get into some of your background and everything. So at 40 years old, she laced up for her very first run and changed the course of her life. At 54, she's now a 13-time marathoner, Boston qualifier, and the creator behind Stiletto Running. Her journey through eating disorder recovery, early menopause, and rediscovering strength through running reminds every woman it's never too late to chase big dreams.
Oh, I'm
That's
gonna cry.
you know.
You worded that so nicely.
Yeah,
Aw.
she was trying to get away with, "I started running at 40 and I ran this, and that's it." I was like, "There's so much more to her."
Yeah.
But it's okay. We got a whole episode to dive into every
Yeah.
detail of that. I do wanna start though with your running. I mean, you started late in your adulthood. I mean, 40s is like usually a lot of like runners are usually typically like, "Oh, I'm retiring after 30," right?
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go start running now." Like, and I really, really love that because one, it puts you in a very, very vulnerable state where you're like, "I'm gonna try a new sport out." And I
Mhm.
feel like most adults just don't, but we're seeing it more. Like it's becoming more
Yeah.
common to see women get out there and put themselves out there.
Mhm.
So I'm curious, like, what made you finally lace up? Like, why 40? Like, what was it in your life that was just like, I'm gonna pull some shoes on and get out the door and try this?
So I've always been into exercise. I grew up dancing, gymnastics. My mother was a dance teacher, so always very active. But I was turning 40. I had been working out at a gym and became friends with a group of women that were a lot of them were triathletes, Ironman marathoners. And I was like, all right, well, if I want to hang out with these girls, and we became good friends quickly, but I was missing part of the social aspect because they'd be like, oh, we're going for a 3 hour run. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, all right. So it was March. I was turning 40 in April, and I was like, maybe I'll train for a half marathon. I'd never run in my life. I mean, maybe like on the treadmill for like 10 minutes
Mhm.
Yeah.
as like a warm up to go lift weights or whatever in the gym. It was never like a thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I set that as my goal to run a half marathon that June when I had turned 40, and clearly caught the bug. I mean,
It's
yeah,
something.
I mean, we were talking
Yeah.
about the woman that started 1 mile at a 12-minute mile. I mean, that probably was me. I mean,
Yes.
maybe 11-minute miles when I started. Um, yeah, I mean, 1 mile became 2 and 2 became 3. And I remember like the first even 6 mile run, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe like I just ran for whatever, an hour. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy to me. Um, yeah, and I ran that first half that June and ran, ran it in a 2:02
Oh
and
my
said,
gosh.
at first I said, this is it. I'm never doing it again. This was the hardest thing ever. It was a
Yeah.
bucket list. And then, as most of us know, a couple of days goes by, and I'm like, I didn't even know what times meant. That
Mhm.
like a lot of people like strive to it for a sub 2.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 minutes. I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm gonna
Oh my
try
gosh.
again, and I'm gonna break 2. And then like that was it. Then I never looked back.
That
So
is very impressive that your first half marathon was a 2:02 off a no
I
running
was
background. Like,
dying,
you
dying. Like
that's
uh,
amazing
I
That's
mean, I
though.
amazing,
definitely
yeah.
had no clue what I was doing. Like, I probably started the race at like an 8:15, which was like speed
Yeah.
me at that
Yeah.
time. And I think like out of the gate and then by like mile 4 or 5, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to run, 8, 9 miles more? And I remember the last few miles were painful. So yeah,
Yeah.
I learned how to negative split. Never
Well, and
start
it's
fast.
probably crazy because I feel like back then, like, I know for me, like, fueling wasn't talked about. Like, taking gels like you do now, you don't s
Mhm.
like, now you see people eat we were joking on this other podcast, we see people eating candy in the middle of their
Oh,
runs.
yep,
And, like,
yep,
now it's so common, it's almost like when people aren't feeling, you're like, "It's 2025, like, get with the times." But
yeah,
back then, it wasn't talked about, like, I remember holding a gel in my hand on my first half marathon and, like,
yep,
taking that much of it and not being
yeah,
able to consume the rest because it was like a goo, it was, like, super thick.
yep,
And I was like, "Why did I bonk?" And I was like, "Oh, wait, maybe because I, like, didn't drink or eat anything."
yep. And,
So
we practice with our fuel on training runs, like, that's what
yeah.
training runs are for. I don't even remember what I practiced with, not much,
Yes.
maybe a little bit, and then I remember drinking a ton of Gatorade on the course
Oh my
because I
gosh.
was dying and thinking like, "Oh my god, I need something," and, like, then my stomach felt gross, like, you know,
Yes.
recipe for disaster, but
Yeah.
live and learn.
It's so funny. I feel like it's such a relatable story of like not having run, then you go and you're like not starting with a 5K, not starting with anything, but having that first like 6-mile milestone run. And it's so funny because a lot of times I'll hear, even just talking to people, and they're like, well, I ran 6 miles. And it's like, that's like your first big milestone because it's more than 5, and it's
Yeah.
like, it like really puts that bug in your head of like, could I go farther than this, and then
Yeah.
doing the half marathon, not feeling good during it. But the thing that like sets you apart is like so much of this was later in your life. Like you didn't do this before children. This was when you were 40. And
Mhm.
that's a very unique experience to do because not a lot of people are choosing to pick up running at 40. I feel like it's probably changing now a lot more, but I
Yeah.
mean, it like, 40, you're not usually like, "Oh, I'm gonna pick up a whole new not just a hobby, but a full-on sport," you know?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
incredible. That's
Thank
super
you.
incredible.
Yeah, I think over the years, I've seen more and more women starting older and even in like, I mean, I get messages from people like 60, like,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
started running. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, I can't imagine, like,
Mhm.
I couldn't imagine starting running now at 54. Like, 40 was hard
Yeah.
enough. Like, but I get messages from people even older than me that are starting now. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad because changing the narrative, like, I don't want 40 to seem old, like,
No,
I
Yeah,
don't
no.
it's
it's
not
so young, like
yeah. That's
yeah.
a big part is like it's like why should age stop you from wanting to do something that you want to do,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
there's obviously a way to go about it and everything, but like I love that you just dove right in and you're like half marathon is the distance I'm going to start with. So
I still wonder, like, what made me go with that. I
I
don't
know.
know.
Do you think it was, like, the influence of your friends because they were, like, marathon based? Like, that you were like, "Oh,
Probably.
like, I don't wanna do a marathon yet, but a half is, like, a good middle ground?"
Probably. I think, like I said, like, they were all going out and doing, like, these long runs,
Yeah,
so, like, I don't know, it just felt like a big goal, and
yeah.
turning 40 was a big milestone, so,
Mhm.
I don't know, I felt like, going out and running a 5K didn't sound like, "Wow." So, I was
Yeah.
like I just felt like it was something big, like, to
Yeah.
bring in the new decade, I guess.
Yeah, like, really
That's
puts
so
yourself
cool.
out there in a
Yeah.
very, very vulnerable state.
Yeah.
I relate so hard to that because I remember coming back into the sport after having my babies, and it was, like, 2022, and I was running with these moms, and they were all marathoners, and they were, like, way better shape than I was, and they're doing, like, 20 miles, and I was like, "20 miles?" Like, I'm
Yeah.
a mid-distance runner, like, 5K is my jam,
Yeah.
and I remember just, like, hitting that 11 to 12-mile run, and that was, like, their baseline. Like, they were
Mhm.
just like, "Oh, this is my mid-long run," and I was like, "This is my long run."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it really is such a feat, and then, to go to that next step, it's like it's crazy. Like, it really puts it in perspective just how far that distance, even the half marathon is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially when my mother would say, well, and once I started running full marathons, she's like, "I don't even like driving 26 miles." Oh my
Exactly.
God, I mean, I'm sure we all hear that,
Yeah.
but it is crazy. And like you said, the 11, 12 miles or like the mid long,
Yeah.
I mean, I still consider it a long run,
Me
obviously,
too. Yeah.
but, like, you'll do those in the middle of the week and not even think about it, like,
Yes.
when your
Yeah.
long runs, 16, 18, or whatever, so, yeah, it's funny how it changed.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I'm
Yeah.
curious with your background because you mentioned that you did gymnastics and dance, right?
Mhm.
Do you feel like that I'm curious to hear, like, what that was like, you growing up, like, what level did you compete at? And did you feel like it kind of bridged the gap for running almost like the competitive side within you was kind of already there to mold into the next sport? Did you see, like, a bridge because you had a previous experience with past sports, or did you feel like it was, like, totally foreign, 2 different things?
Totally foreign.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
dancing was just, yeah, performances and things like that, so which I would I would have thought I would be fine getting to the start line to perform.
Yeah.
After performing for so many years, like, I could go out on the stage and dance in front of thousands of people and not think about it, but getting to a start line, I have such race day anxiety, and
That's
which is
crazy.
ridiculous because I'm me against me. Like
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone else is doing in front of me. I mean, it's great when I place in an age group or whatever, but I'm not like running saying, "Oh, I have to beat that one. I have to beat that one."
Yeah.
That's not I'm trying to beat my own times, But yeah, totally different. Totally different. Cuz it wasn't like a competitive sport. Like I
Yeah.
didn't it was more performance level than competing. So,
That's
yeah.
so interesting. I'm always so fascinated to hear, like, people that have a previous past with, like, sports and, like, what
Yeah.
their experience is going into a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up dancing too, and I have always there is almost no similarity for running and dancing other than mental toughness and like how
Mhm.
grueling dance can be and just the impact that it's putting on your body, but
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it comes from every time I start talking, she just like can't help herself. So,
I hear
yeah.
that's my dog.
I
Yeah.
know.
Do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping Olivia would talk up about her dance. So she was a ballet dancer formerly, and she picked up running, oh, man, I wanna say with her first kid. With
Mhm.
your first pregnancy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was right beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I feel like when you dance, it's like muscle memory, and so you can go
Mhm.
out, it's locked in. Like I still could perform an entire ballet right now because it's so locked
Yeah.
in your body. But when
Yeah.
you're going out and racing, you've only tapped into those marathon paces a few times, and so it's like it's not muscle memory until you've actually done the race, which is so interesting and so you're going out and you're kind of blind to it, like what's going to happen. Where with a performance, you know exactly from start to finish what's going to happen.
Right.
You know the storyline, you know exactly like
Yeah.
there's unknowns, of course, but not many. Like, and you
Right.
really hope there aren't. But when you're in a race, like kind of anything could happen. And
Yeah.
it's outdoors, so it's weather dependent. So there's all these things that are so exciting in like a totally different way. Cause I
Yes.
have the same thing. I have insane race day anxiety. Like the other day I was shivering and I was like, I'm not cold. But
Mhm.
like, you know how you shiver right before you're about to give birth? That's what I
Yeah.
felt like. I
Yeah.
was shivering, like my hands
I've
were
been like that at a race start too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. And like
totally.
even if I'm not like racing for a goal time and it's just a race like I want to enjoy, um this I just ran a half on Sunday and
Yeah.
I was starting to get a little nervous at bib pickup, but then I really needed the bathroom and the porta potty line was so long and I had to wait for the porta potty. I was in the porta potty when the gun went off. I've never had that happen. And I literally didn't even have time to get
Crazy.
nervous because I ran to the start and the volunteers were yelling at me to hurry up. They're shutting the start down.
Oh my
They're
gosh!
closing the start. I'm like, "Oh my God." Like I've never in my 14 years, I'm always like at the start line,
On
20
time,
minutes
yeah.
shivering, nervous, like
Yeah.
waiting. I've never been late like that to a
Oh,
race. It was crazy, but
that is wild.
yeah, it was
That's a whole
crazy.
different type of
Yeah,
stress.
I was running alone for a quarter of a mile to catch up to the people.
Oh my god. That is crazy.
It was really funny. So I ended up like passing a million, not a million, but passing so
Yeah.
many people because like I started, after
Yeah.
everybody and was passing people that were slower than me. And it
Probably
was,
having to, like, weave through a lot of people too.
yeah,
Yeah.
first 2 miles. And
Oh, that's
I was
rough.
shocked when I finished because I ran with a friend. She started on time. She left me in the porta potty. She's like, I'm going to the start. I'm like, I don't believe you.
I'm not
So
gonna be
when
late.
we finished, I was like, what was your mileage? And she was like 13.18. And so was mine. And I don't know how, because when I tell
Wow.
you I was like this for 2 miles trying to get around people, I thought for sure I was going to be like 13.5. So
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
how we both had the
crazy.
same. It
That's
was funny.
That's
crazy.
wild. That's so crazy. Um, in your bio, you mentioned that you had a history with eating disorders and body image. Did that
Mhm.
come from your dance background? And did it carry over into running at all in that time? Or do you feel like running helped with anything like that? Can you just talk about that a little bit if you're comfortable?
Yeah, I don't know that it stemmed from dancing. I mean, maybe a little piece of it. I think the biggest part of it was I went to college and I had a boyfriend, my high school boyfriend, and he said to me, don't gain the freshman 15, like kind of like and so went off to college. I gained 30 pounds my freshman year. And I've always been small. I'm 5'2", I'm petite.
Yeah.
So 30 pounds was a lot of weight on
Mhm.
someone short. Um, and then found out he was cheating on me, and then we broke up. So I think I probably
Yeah.
that stemmed from that. Like, I
Mhm.
definitely think so. Yeah, so after gaining that weight, then I started binging, purging, starving myself. I mean, it was like a roller coaster. I'd
Mhm.
go a week with really restricting my calories and then was starving and didn't feel good. So then I would go the opposite way with binging and purging and laxatives. And it was just
Mhm.
a really bad 5 years.
Mhm.
Um, and then thankfully, my family and everybody was like, we need to get you help, and went to therapy. And um, yeah, and now obviously I find food as fuel. I can't imagine running the way I run without fueling my body. And I think it took a couple of years to kind of for my weight to balance out and get to where my body felt comfortable.
Mhm.
Um, Here and there with running, I do feel feel like when I'm marathon training, I can't get enough food, like, we're
Yeah.
insatiable,
Mhm.
and so I feel like sometimes I might put on a few pounds with marathon training and,
Yes.
always in the back of my mind that might, I don't like how these pants fit, I don't like how
Yeah.
they look." And, I mean, unfortunately, I think any woman, even without struggling with eating
Yes.
disorders, I think we all are too hard on ourselves, and, social media is just uh, I couldn't imagine being 22 with social media. I'm so thankful that, like, when all this was going on, I didn't have all of those things to fuel my fire for that. Um, but I mean, overall, food is fuel, and that's how I really see it now. And try to just think of my body as look at all the things it can do. I mean,
Mhm.
had 2
Yeah.
children and I can run these miles, and it doesn't matter if I'm 10 pounds heavier, like, I'm strong, I'm healthy, and those are the things that are more important than being too skinny. So,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being so honest even now, like saying with marathon training you feel like bigger than you normally like to feel, because that's one thing that I'm only 4 marathons in and I notice it's crazy. I joke all the time. I'm like, I'm running the highest amount of miles I've ever have in my whole entire life. My training regimen is insane. And yet I am heavier than I've ever been in my whole life. And I remember talking to an RDN about it in 2023 and be like, am I like doing something wrong? Is there any way that I could be overeating? And she's like, no, you actually should weigh heavier when you're in marathon training if you're fueling properly. And I remember just that soaking in so deep. And it's like, it is hard. It is so hard as a female when you feel like you're working so hard and then you're seeing a lot of these images of people with ripped six packs, right? And you're just like, how do I look like that and have this, And I know for me personally, I've gone through several like diets that I've tried, the fads, that would pop up in and out of the last 12 years, right? But at the end of the day, I know that I feel stronger when I am fueled.
mhm,
And I think that that's very like wise and so much wisdom in you to say that because it does take a lot of humility to recognize that you are going to sacrifice a little bit of aesthetics for the performance.
mhm,
And it's like, which one do you want? At the end of the day, do you want a strong, healthy body that's going to cross you across those finish lines with your BQ? Or do you want to feel like crap every day with a possibility of a stress fracture or injuries or hormonal imbalances, which I'm sure you've experienced a lot of that through your eating disorder.
mhm.
I just like I'm so appreciative that women are willing to step forward and talk about it more because it is I'm sure in the dance world for the both of you that was probably a very prevalent thing and even in gymnastics that's probably
Yeah.
prevalent. But in the running world, especially the endurance side, it's always been pushed on us, especially as females, that the lighter you are, the faster you are. I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many times I've heard that in high school. and being almost like recognized as a mid-distance runner because I had thighs more than the girl next to me that was a negative 0 or whatever, and it's crazy. It's such a twisted way to think about it, and now we're hearing so much more today that fueling is the key to success. We're seeing pro runners fueling with 100 grams of carbs per hour, and that's
Yeah.
like, I'm like trying to get to 75, and I'm seeing these women that are just feeling like machines because they know that that's the key to get across for their fastest self, right?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so much of it is for so many years, men were the spokespeople for athletics
Yes.
in general. So,
Yes.
I mean, I think about all the people that I looked up to when I was dancing, and they were men. And, as a female, when you're in a leotard all day, you're going to be looking at things that most people don't stare at for 5 hours at a day
Yes.
at the age of, 13. So,
Yeah.
your tights are gonna cut in a weird spot, and you're gonna be like, "Is that a roll?" And it's not. But,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
some man is gonna come over and be like, "I can see your lunch, pull up." And it sticks with you, and so
Yeah.
for so long. And then, a lot of I think in the running world with women track athletes, they were coached by men oftentimes,
Yeah.
and so the idea that you have to be small to be fast, it's just going to get passed down from generation to generation, and so much of it is just about aesthetics. But at the end of the day, now they're writing books, they're on Instagram, they're talking about how you have to eat, because otherwise your body is just going to shut down. That's
Yeah.
just what it does. It'll do everything it can to conserve energy. And so, I yeah, I think about it quite often, and just how lucky I think about how lucky I am all the time that even though I did this to my body, that I was able to have 2 kids. Like, it is
Hmm.
crazy to think about, like, just and how people deal with having to jump over hurdles with that. But,
Yeah.
also in your bio, we talked about the perimenopause and that you went through that early on. Do you think that that had anything to do with it, or was that completely unrelated?
So when I was 46, I had to have a hysterectomy.
Oh
So that
gosh.
put me into early menopause.
Oh god.
Um, and I don't, it's funny because I went on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, like literally came out of recovery and they put me on it. Um, because women need estrogen, for so many things, your brain, your skin, your heart, muscle loss, like all these things, that when you do go into menopause and you lose all of those things, um, things start to change. So I think going on the HRT right away definitely helped because I never had any symptoms. We had to tweak my doses a little bit here and there, but my best running was after that surgery. Like
That's crazy.
I can't figure it out, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Um, it was 7 years ago, going on 8. January will be 8 years. Yeah, 2018. Coming back to running after that. Um, that's when I first started working with a coach as well. So like I changed the way I was running. But 2018, 2019 are still my marathon and half marathon PRs for 2019. And
Crazy.
Wow.
that was a year and a half after the surgery. So I, I don't know if it was just I was meant to have my peak year that year. I don't know. It's very strange. And I've been able to maintain kind of those paces over the next few years after that. And I'd say the last year and a half, I don't know if it's because of my age now and whatever real estrogen or progesterone I had in my body, I'm starting to feel the actual symptoms of menopause now, even
Yeah.
though I went into menopause almost 8 years ago, if that makes any sense. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I do feel like my times are slowing down a little bit. I've put on 7 pounds over the last year and I can't figure out why, but I'm trying to be kind to myself with everything, with
Mhm.
my history of eating disorders. Um, I don't know why. So I don't know if it has to do with the actual piece of menopause I'm in my mid 50s now. I'm not sure. So,
I mean, it's another foreign topic, right? Like, I feel like that menopause and things like that, they're talked about more now, and they're starting to research it more now, but it's like you've already gone through it. How much could it have been beneficial to have prepped you and prepared you and been like, "Hey, these are some ways to, like, kind of cope or manage with it better." Whereas, like, I feel like our generation that's coming up behind you will have a lot of those resources, and
yeah.
it's just again, it's another, like, bridge that I wish you would have had because I think a lot of women are struggling with that right now. Like, there's a lot of women that are hitting these stages.
Mhm.
I'm curious, like, if there's any, like, pieces of advice on that when you were going through it that you feel like could benefit women that are maybe entering that phase right now, that helped you to kind of just, like, ride the wave because you have noticed a difference in your performance. Again, it's hard to tell if it is that or not because we don't have a lot of research for women that are going through it, right?
Mhm.
But I'm curious if you have any, like, advice or, like, tips or insights that maybe had helped you to cope with it when you were going through it?
Yeah, I wish my doctor had done testing of my estrogen and progesterone levels before my surgery.
Okay.
So, even though I went on hormone replacement therapy right after, it would have been nice to see where my levels were, to have a gauge, with dosing of the hormone patch, the estradiol patch that I'm on, and, um, to s just to see, because I know my performance levels were at the best in 2019. Um, but I do think so I think testing estrogen and progesterone levels, especially when you're starting to feel those perimenopausal symptoms, I think it's a great idea to get a baseline for all of that. So many of my friends now, my age, everyone's going on HRT.
That's
It
crazy.
helps so like the hot flashes and
Yeah.
sleep is a huge component. Like that is one thing I definitely will say after I did have the hysterectomy, my sleep was never the same because of the
Crazy.
loss of estrogen and progesterone. Um, Even being on HRT, it's, synthetic. It's not like what your body is naturally producing, and it messes with your sleep. And if you're not sleeping well, your performance slacks
Absolutely.
big
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
that's been something that I've had to adjust my HRT levels to help with sleep, because that definitely does change. So I
Yeah.
I recommend HRT, and I know it's not for everybody, but there are a couple of women on Instagram that I follow that are doctors, and there's so much more information out there now. Like, I'd say the last 2 years, um, oh my god, there's so much information. I mean, like, I feel like there need to be more gynecologists that
Yeah.
speaking about menopause because, gynecologists deal with women giving birth, pregnancy, all of that. Not every woman chooses to get pregnant,
Absolutely.
and not every woman can get pregnant. So there's
Absolutely.
a big piece of or chunk of women out there that don't deal with pregnancy or childbirth and whatever. Every single woman is going to go through menopause.
Mhm.
It's such a
So
good point. I
I
love
feel like
that.
we need it. We need
Yeah.
more information on it.
Mhm. That's
Such a good
so
point.
yeah, I love that you can kind of shed some light on it because I mean, I think that's such a natural thing, right? We talked about people not wanting to do new things in their 40s and how much of that has to do with just not feeling good or feeling like yourself. And I think back and I'm like, oh my gosh, my mom would have gone through this. Like, of course, she didn't want to pick me up like late at night. She was probably just so tired and like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, she wasn't out there getting blood work done. And
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
makes me think about like so the marathon the women who perform best are usually not early 20s and it's I wonder how much of that has to do with when your hormones are at their peak. I mean, we're seeing, people talk a lot about like, oh, she's a mom and she's in her 30s and it's like, well, maybe that's when our hormones are at their most mature level. It's when we're producing the most natural
I
best
think so.
hormones, and I mean, fueling has a ton to do with that, obviously. Like, one of the
Mhm.
first things to shut down if you're not fueling properly is your endocrine system, which makes your
Yep.
hormones. So, that is such a great point that, after. after the age of probably like what 38 to 40 that things start to shift, you know.
Yeah.
So that's super interesting. I bet that's why so many people notice that they're just not feeling themselves. And I wonder if after your surgery, if there was like the natural ones that you produce and then the synthetic, if there was just like that perfect balance that gave you peak performance or something, if that was,
Yeah.
it'd be so interesting to know what those levels were beforehand.
Right.
You could compare,
Definitely.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm curious. So you saw that big shift kind of in your paces or in your fitness, right? And obviously you were still showing up season after season after season. I mean, look where you're at still now. You're still producing amazing, phenomenal times. How did you like get through those like low lows, like that where your body was going through a different season transition? How did you manage to like keep pushing through and keep showing up in training? Like what motivated you to keep getting back out there? Because I feel like when you're in that low where you're like, what the heck? I was just PRing last year and now I haven't seen like my PR since 2019 or
Mm.
2020 or
Yep.
2018. And like, what's going on? Like, how do you keep getting out the door? Like, what mind shifts have you been able to like create for yourself to get yourself out the door every day still?
Um, I think part of it is just seeing what I can do as I keep aging.
Yeah.
I maybe I won't see a 142 half marathon again, but if I can run a 145 to 147 right now, I'm thrilled because it still means I'm still competitive with the people in my age group. And that's where I want to see that I can keep showing up and keep putting out times that are correlate, you know, to aging. Um, I don't know, but I also to keep showing up I do like to see and challenge myself. Maybe I can get back to 142. I don't
Yeah.
know. Why not keep trying?
Why
That's
not?
that's why I mean, I love training. I love speed workouts and I do like just seeing what else I have in me. So, not giving up.
Yeah. There
Not
was
yet.
There was a pro runner that wrote in, I can't remember who was gonna drive me nuts. I wanna say it was Dina Castor. One of them said, "There has to be a sense of delusionalist in your mind to keep going."
Yep.
And I really loved that because you say that and that resonates with me so hard. Like I want 40s to be my fastest years. I want like my late 40s to be my fastest years. I don't want my 30s to be my fastest years.
Mhm.
Like I feel like this is my trial and error era. And I feel like my 40s are going to be like my era of maturity, And I love that women like you are not only just saying it, but they're proving it by action, by getting out there, by dreaming, by continually putting themselves in positions to see if it could reap the rewards. And I think all of us runners, it doesn't matter what age or what goal you're going for, you have to have this sort of sense of like hopefulness of delusion of like, what if? Like,
Mhm.
otherwise, then what is the point? Like, if you're gonna get
Right.
out there and you're already like admitting defeat, then like, why try? Like,
Right.
why get out there and keep trying? I don't know. It was just really fascinating when I can't remember who it was, but they put it in that words, and I was like, it's so true. Like, that's what keeps us dreaming as runners
Mhm.
is the what if.
Yeah, I mean, look at Cara D'Amato.
Yeah,
I mean, she's young to me, but
she's still
not
young. Yeah,
young, you know what I mean? Like, just going out there and proving, like, just because you're in perimenopause or menopause or I have older children, like,
yeah,
you you can still go out there and try. I mean, you've got nothing to lose other than going out and doing what you love to do, and I love to run, so why not go out there and try to do my best, and maybe the best will be what my best was in 2019, who knows?
yeah,
I love
It's just
that.
fun.
Yeah. It's the whole idea of one thing rolling into another, like, you might as well just keep trying, and, if you're feeling good, you're going to continue, hopefully, to be feeling good, which will motivate
Mhm.
you to continue on. But I talk about this all the time about I love that the world is changing now where, like, aging isn't this thing where, like, at 60, you get your recliner, your lazy boy, and you're propped up in
Yeah,
front of the TV,
yeah,
and because I just that's, like, the scariest thing to me is picturing someone that I love doing that, and it's like you're
yeah,
just
yeah,
writing yourself off those are the last good years you have when Like, you know, like 40 shouldn't be scary midlife. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
I'm not that far away from 40. It better not be the middle of
no.
my life. I agree. Like there's so much maturity that comes after, you know, after 40. And I'm just so glad that, people like you are paving the way that, you can start anything at any time and continue to do it well and see what else is going to happen and what else is out there. But
Thank you.
you've run 52 half marathons?
53.
50.
I
Oh,
just
Sunday.
I just ran my 53rd on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Wild.
so
That
crazy.
is
Yeah.
incredible.
It's my favorite distance,
Is
but
it?
honestly, out of the 53, I can honestly say I've probably raced, like went in with a goal time, like, let's
Yeah.
do it, probably 15 times. Let's
That's
call it
awesome.
like goal races. The rest of them I'll use as a training run during marathon training because it makes for a great tempo run. Like
Yeah.
I'll go run this half marathon at my marathon pace or
Mhm.
I just love the distance. I love racing, obviously, or being in the race environment. It just,
Yeah.
and then yeah, you pay for the registration, but it's so nice. You have a supported run with fueling stations and you're surrounded by people rather than, just going out and running 13 miles by yourself or with a few people. It's just
Yeah.
the community. It's so good.
The vibe is so much higher in a race,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. And the race I ran on Sunday, like you were saying, older women, there were a lot of, so I like when they do the age groups in 5-year increments.
Yes.
It just, it's better. But this one they did 50 to 59. And I couldn't believe, I think there were 63 women in the 50 to 59 age group.
That
That's
is
a lot, right?
crazy.
And
Significant.
I
Yeah.
know I ran by a bunch of women that were much older than me. I mean, I should look at like what the 60 to 69. There were a lot of older women at that race. So I was very impressed.
That's
That's
incredible.
amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the winner, the guy who came in 105,
Oh my god.
Can't see
Yeah,
him anywhere.
I know.
I didn't pass him when I started, when they were closing the start line. I didn't pass him.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Don't be shy. We know you laughed him. You were just playing easy on him.
Yeah.
Right.
Giving
Yeah.
him his moment.
I have one
Yeah.
family member that always no matter what race I'm at, she'll be like, "Well, did you see this person?" I'm like even this last time we're like at Chicago, my cousin, she was like, "Well, did you see Connor Mance?" And I was like, "I mean, he finished an hour before I did." Like,
Yeah.
oh, he was a mile ahead of me at the start. I was in a corral. He was just
Right.
at the start. I wasn't. Like,
You're
how do
like,
you explain that to someone? But yeah, it
Right.
always makes me laugh and like just it's like I don't it's like the same as like I wouldn't even drive 26 miles, you know? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so funny. Well, I'm sure both of you with young kids, I'm sure like they think like you win all these big major marathons.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cute. Like they don't, I mean, obviously a local race, but
Yeah.
like the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Cute.
cute.
My kids are always like thoroughly confused. They're like, "Why do you have a medal if you didn't win?" I was like, "Hey, I still completed the distance. Like,
Yeah.
come on, give me some credit."
So
It's
cute.
funny.
I'm curious to hear like about your training. Like, did you have your kids before you're 40? You turned 40, or
Yeah.
okay? So you entered running after babies.
Yes. Yeah. So when
I
I
mean,
was,
that had to have been an adjustment too. Like, because I mean, even from like a hobby perspective, like everything feels different after you have kids. So I'm
yeah.
curious, like, how old were they when you entered into the running scene? And like, what was that like even training? Because I can't imagine that they were very old at that point.
Yeah. My older son I had him when I was 31. So he was 9. And then my younger son was 6.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay,
I
so
think
so
that was
pretty.
part of it too. Like at that point, my younger son had just started kindergarten
Yes.
and I was like, okay, I got the day to myself. So, That helped. Like, I would meet with a group of friends, and we would do our long runs on Fridays when the
I
kids were
love
in
that.
school. We would meet at
Yeah.
night, drop the kids off, and at 9 a.m., that's when we would do our long runs. So, I really did the majority of my training during the week when the kids were in school. So, that was very helpful. Um, but I do remember, like, the following year when I started training for my first full marathon, I was so tired, and my other friends that we were running our first marathon together, we were all like, "Oh my god, the laundry and, like, everything's piling up, like, how are we gonna do this?" And, like, that so, yeah, that I mean, I can't even imagine you, Shanna, with 6 and 1 on the way, like, oh
Yeah.
my god, the laundry.
It looks the same as all of your guys's, it really it's when it gets out of control, it all looks the same, that's the
Yeah,
thing, like, a pile
yeah,
of laundry looks like a pile of laundry, just
right, right. And putting it in the wash wasn't the problem, it was
Yeah.
folding it and putting it
Yes.
away, it could sit there
Yeah.
for 3 days, and yeah, but,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're fine.
that aspect, having younger kids when you're training is hard. Like
Yeah.
I look at all of the younger women with younger kids and um I mean at that point my kids were older, I
But
see
still
people
but still
running.
young, I mean, still elementary
Yeah.
school age because, I mean, I haven't the thing is, like, with a nine-year-old, my oldest is 9, she's turning 10, they stay up later, and
Yeah.
that is, like, oh my gosh, like, I having kids that wake up really early and then having kids that go to bed really late and they're not even a teenager yet, I'm like,
Yeah.
"When do I get to sleep?" Like, when is and so I feel for you because, yes, it's a different season of life, but with those kids being a little bit older, they kind of, like, have their own schedule too, where they
Mhm.
don't listen as well sometimes, and they kind of just mosey off to bed eventually, and it's a lot when you're in marathon training, when your sleep is truly, like, your recovery. When you don't have that sleep, you will feel it the next day.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so hard.
Yeah, and the age too, you have to be very present for them conversationally. With little kids, you can kind of get away with distractions quite often,
Yeah.
or, like, oh, can you build this up for me really quick? And you have like, there's not moments of peace, but you don't have to engage conversationally as much as when they're a little
Mhm.
bit older. Like I'm noticing that with my 5-year-old quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
just been struggling, like, oh, I have to be so much more present now that he wants to have conversations versus,
Mhm.
and when you're in marathon train or any kind of training, honestly, like it or any kind of running, whatever you're like dedicating your time to, you know, there's a level of fatigue that just happens, or when you're very focused on your goal, you have it on the back of your mind quite often. So
Yeah.
you're thinking about scheduling and how am I going to get there? You're thinking long term, short term, and so no matter what phase of being a mom you're in, there's always some kind of challenge where you're having to weave your own goal into their
Mhm.
life completely.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And then the teenage years, talk about
Yeah.
not sleeping,
oh
like
my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
I
my
can only
kids would be
imagine.
out and, they'd have a curfew and then it's,
Yeah.
11 o'clock, say,
Yeah.
when they're seniors in high school or whatever, but I'm like, "I wanna go to bed."
Oh,
Like, but I can't go to bed until they get home,
yeah.
driving, like, all of that. So,
You're just stressing about them all the time,
Wow.
I'm sure.
yeah, yeah.
Sounds
My
like a
mother always
7
said,
p.m.
"Little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems."
So true. I
That is
believe that. Like, I totally believe that. And that's why, like, for me, it's like I hear it often. Like, people are like, how do you find the time? And I'm like, how do you find the time when they're older? Like,
Yeah.
their sports just get more like regimented. I feel like
Mhm.
life gets a lot more strict. Like their schedule is just insane. And so it's like you got to figure it out now because when you get into that stage, it's really just like
Yeah.
throwing every ball at you, see which ones you
Yep.
can catch.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
has your I am curious because I know we have a lot of listeners that are picking up running into their, like, later adulthood. How has your training changed from when you were in your 40s versus now? Like, has there been any huge shift? Does your recovery look different? Like, do you have more recovery days in between workouts? Do you have less
Mhm.
workouts a week? What are some insights? I'm so curious to hear what your training looks like right now.
Yeah, so I think when I started running and, like, my first bunch of marathons, I mean, I was running 5, 6 days a week, one
Crazy. Yeah.
day off. I was not good about strength training back then.
It's so hard.
I still don't like it, but I do it
Yeah.
because I know, especially being older, like we really need to. Um, so yeah, so now I run 4 days a week.
Okay.
And honestly, I think that was part of like the shift after I had the surgery in 2018. I went from 5 or 6 days down to 4 days, and I take 2 rest days and then 1 day of cross training, whether it's like my Peloton bike or even just going for like a 3 to 5 mile power walk,
Yeah.
something just to keep moving, and strength training. But I think that was part of, um, the great years that I had 2019, just cutting back. I think as you get older, you need more recovery. Definitely
Yeah.
need more recovery. Um, and trying to think. I think since then, I've always done 2 days of speed workouts.
Okay.
Um, I do think over the last couple of years, I've incorporated more speed workouts into long runs as well.
Okay.
So that's probably one shift, but definitely recovery and strength training are 2 things that, um, are more important into your 40s
Mhm.
and 50s and beyond.
Mhm.
I think that should give a lot of people hope. I mean, you're still be queuing off of 4 days a week. Like
Mhm,
that's 4 days a week of running is still a lot of running. You could do a lot of good quality miles within
mhm,
4 days. And I love that you're showing that. Like you're showing that it's okay to like figure out where you're at body wise and
mhm.
take a step back because I think sometimes we can get so like stuck in like, well, this is how I did it when I was 20. Like I remember coming into the sport in my 30s and being like, well, in my 20s, I would go out and run this pace at easy.
Yeah,
And then I tried doing that and I ended up with a knee injury. Like I was just overtrained and I was just shooting too many hard runs. And I wasn't a mom then, and so your stress life, like your external stress as a parent, but also as you age does increase. And so I think you prioritizing recovery and talking about that, like
mhm,
hopefully it'll give other people some ease of mind that like you're not lazy, you're not doing less, you're actually like you're allowing yourself to have longevity in the sport, which is a goal that you mentioned. You said you
yeah,
want to run till you're 80.
yeah.
And I love that. Like, I wanna see you run a marathon or a half marathon at 80. I wanna see
I
you
hope
get up
so.
there. Like, I wanna see that name and be like, "That's the girl that started at 40 and she's still going."
I mean, another thing too that I changed is my easy runs are so much easier or
Yeah.
easier for me.
Yeah.
Um, I've slowed down my easy run pace so much. Like some days, like, I mean, just example, my half marathon PR is a 7:45 pace. My easy days, some days I'm doing like 11:30s. Like,
That's awesome.
I
I,
Yeah.
love
but like
hearing
it just
that.
feels good,
Yeah.
and some days are a 10, some days are, but like you can't, I try not to put a pace on my easy days. Like easy is an effort, it's not a pace. And some days I feel slow and
Yes.
that's what I'm gonna do because
Yes.
it helps you recover. And I do feel like if I can do those easy days at, 11:30s, my speed workout days can be like 6:30s to 7:30s,
Mhm.
and that's what you wanna do.
Absolutely.
Make the hard days hard and the easy days easy. So
Yeah.
I love that. That's so good to hear. Yeah. Okay. We have to talk about your brand, Stiletto Running.
Mhm.
Yes.
So when did you start it and like how did you basically like take your passion for fitness and fashion and blend them together?
So, before I was a runner and before I had kids, I worked in the fashion industry. That was
That's so
my job
cool.
out of college. Um, and then when I had my younger son, I became a full-time stay-at-home mom. So that was for, I don't know, 6 years or so, 8 years. And then when I started running, I missed having something else to do. And that's when I started my business. I was finding where we were living in Connecticut, running on the roads, there were no sidewalks. So you were running on main roads and fear of getting hit by a car
Yeah.
all the time. Like you really had to, I mean, it was like, and not even shoulders on some roads. Like I'd be jumping into the woods,
Crazy.
like to avoid cars. Um, one thing I'm so happy about living back in Boston. The running is much safer here. Um, so yeah, so I realized like a lot of running companies back then, like 10 years ago, nobody had bright stuff. Everything was black.
Yeah.
And I truly like, I mean, other than like running stuff, like I'm always in neutral colors. But for my running gear, I was like, I need to start making something bright and make sure the cars can see me. And so that was kind of my thought process with that. But and yeah, just I wanted to combine my love for running and my passion for fashion and just make things fun and sassy and things that people would want to put on and stand out in a race. A lot of the tights and shorts I designed were kind of whimsical and fun and bright patterns and things like that.
You have like the funniest sayings on some of your shirts too. I love it. Like it's so catchy and cute. So
You.
you're doing an amazing job with your brand for
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
love it. So fun.
Thank you.
Well, is there any piece of advice, closing to our audience that you would want to give them or just I don't know, encourage them because you are doing such a amazing job, like entering into your 40s and you're now 54, right?
Mhm.
And you're just killing it. And I really am so excited for you. I feel like sometimes like our setbacks with that 4 second BQ miss, in a sense because of the buffer, it's gonna be like it's gonna bring another level to your story because I know that you're gonna come back even hungrier in 2026, and I cannot wait to witness to see what you do with that fire underneath you. And so I'm curious if there's anything that you would want to leave our audience with encouragement or like with everything that you've gone through in this sport.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, just keep showing up. I mean, that's Des Linden's,
Yeah,
her line.
she's so awesome.
But I mean, it's such a good one. Like, why why wouldn't you just keep showing up? Running is such an outlet for a lot of us mentally. It's just something like it's part of what we do. So yeah, I would keep showing up and don't give up. I mean, it took me, I shouldn't even say it took me because like my first bunch of marathons, I wasn't trying to qualify for Boston or anything.
Yeah,
But it was 7 marathons before I got my first BQ. So and 7 marathons in 7 years. So
that's
things
amazing.
don't happen overnight. I mean, I know like there are tons of fast people out there and some people are genetically
Yeah.
gifted to be fast, but
Yes.
for the majority of people, you have to
It
work
takes time.
hard.
Yeah.
And if I gave up after 3 marathons and said, "Nope, I'm never going to run faster than this. I'll never qualify for Boston." Like don't count yourself out. Like
Yes.
just keep at it because you never know what you're capable of and what you can do if you keep showing up. So I think that's definitely something I always say to myself and
Yeah.
to others. And I'm not giving up. I'm going for that next BQ. And who knows? I'm
It's gonna
maybe
happen.
another marathon PR. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, we're gonna manifest it right here, right now. And then we'll have you on next year or next time when you have that spring marathon. Do you have a spring marathon, like, race in mind already? Do you know which one you're gonna do?
I do. Pretty sure.
Okay.
Because I get such race anxiety.
You're
I
gonna hold it off?
hate traveling. No, I
Yeah.
hate. I like being home. I like being close to my house. I don't want like logistics and all of those things that I've done with New York and Chicago and like
Yeah.
they're all great, but like I can't go into those races with a goal because it
Yeah.
terrifies me. And then like the social aspect, seeing all the people and that and like I'm just exhausted before I've even started. So there's a race called the Charles River Marathon. It's
Cool.
literally 15 minutes from my house. Um,
Wow. That's
it's
incredible.
a small race, and so like I can roll out of bed, go there, get my bib, and like
So excited
start
for
within
you.
an hour. Like it's an easy, yeah. So that's the beginning of May. So
That's
Oh,
so
nice. That's
think
exciting.
that's my
incredible.
plan. Yeah.
I am so jealous of your race scene. Like you're
I
like
know.
you don't have a ton of local things to go to, and so I'm like, oh, even if I wanted to run a few half marathons, like I'm just so jealous.
Yeah.
Like 15 minutes away, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Just to be
It's
able,
like great. And like
yeah,
you literally like the parking lot is right there. The start line's right here. Like
That's awesome.
logistically, it's like a
yes,
no-brainer. Like I feel
yeah,
like how can I not do that one? Like there
yeah.
are some other ones that are like an hour away, but I'm like, what? It's right
Yeah,
there. Like
I know. I could talk about race day logistics for like 10 hours straight. Like
yeah.
nothing is as stressful as that. Like, do I like riding the bus? Do I not like riding the bus? Do I like walking to
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do I want to be up at 3 a.m. for a 10
Yes.
start? Like
Exactly.
all of that, definitely.
Exactly.
I feel you. Yeah. I know. We have I mean, there's races here every single weekend, like
That's
Oh,
so
neat. It's
cool.
half
so
Yeah.
marathons and like all within like 45 minutes. Like
That's
I was looking to do
crazy.
one more half before the year is out. And sadly, two of them that I wanted to do were both sold out, but I found another
Oh,
one. So
wow. Good. I'm glad you found one. That's wild
yeah.
that they're even sold out in the first place. That's
Right? That just
crazy.
shows how many new runners there are because
Yes.
races never used to sell out.
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's
Yep.
like, yeah, now they're selling out. Some of them are like 24, 40 hours. You're like, who's making these decisions so
Yeah.
quickly? Like,
Yep. Yep.
where can our listeners find you? Where can they find your clothing brand or your apparel brand? And then where can they find you on social media?
Yep. So everything is all stiletto running. So my website is stilettorunning.com. Instagram is stiletto running. Facebook, TikTok, which I don't use often, but I do post there sometimes. Everything is all stiletto running.
Perfect.
Awesome. Makes it simple. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in on this episode. It's been so great to meet you, Shana, and just hear more about your story. We'll have you back on. We'll have to have a race recap when you do your race in May, whether you get it or not. We need you
Yes.
back on. So,
Thank you.
but just we're so excited for you. You've been such an inspiration. Following you. I think I started following you in like 2023.
Yeah.
And I remember just like, who is this woman and how did she pick up this race? And she's ran 50 something half marathons. And I was just like blown away by your story. It's something I want to see in myself. Like I want to be 54 and doing what you're doing and enjoying the sport and loving it and being competitive with myself still. I think there's so much value in women realizing that 54 is not doom and gloom, that it's still young and you can thrive and you can have a blast. Like your kids are moved out. Like enjoy your womanhood. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I can't wait to see what you do. Yes.
well, thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you, everybody. And as per usual, we do have a new platform. So do please rate, subscribe, share with the other fellow mamas. We really want to get this platform out to other moms that are either considering running or like in the running phase, whether they're new runners or experienced runners. And if you have any mother runner shout outs you want to share, if there's anybody that you want to shout out, feel free to submit that to us at Miles with Moms podcast on our Instagram page. And yeah, if you want to follow Stiletto Running, go and reach out to her. We will put all of their links in our bio when we submit the episode and launch it on Instagram as well. So be prepared for that. All right. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
ladies.
Bye.